let's talk about other individuals who protested Kavanaugh's confirmation at this first day of the confirmation hearings. There were women associated with the Women's March who decided to voice their opinions. Some did so in the form of protests during the confirmation hearings. They interrupted the confirmation hearings, which I thought was an effective way to get your point across. Now, women are disrupting this hearing today because our lives are at risk. Women will die if Brett Kavanaugh is confirmed, and that is a quote from Rachel O'Leary Carmona. She is the CEO of the Women's March. Some women showed up wearing Handmaid's Tale apparel or garb, which I thought was also an effective way to get the message across. These are women who are very much concerned with the confirmation of Kavanaugh leading to a destruction of reproductive rights in America, the violation of a woman's right to choose. And I also want to give you guys an example of what the scene was like when protesters interrupted the confirmation hearings.
Okay.
This is a mockery and a travesty of justice. This is a travesty of justice. We will not go back. Cancel Brett Kavanaugh. Adjourn the hearing.
As the Supreme Court has put it, quote, unless the president can give his advisors some assurance of confidentiality, a president could not expect to. But you spoke about my decency and you spoke about my decency and integrity, and I think you are taking advantage of my decency and integrity. So.
So dozens of protesters did get escorted out of the room, some arrested. So there were loud, angry people there who didn't want this confirmation to go forward, and I can understand why.
So some of the Republicans in the hearings were saying, well, don't listen to the protesters or what the Democrats are saying. They're trying to pretend that Kavanaugh hates women and children, and of course that's not true. Now, wait a minute. So this isn't about, I don't know if, I would be surprised if he hated women and children. It isn't about hate in that sense. It's about what are your policies? And so is he against a woman's right to choose and hence a woman's decision to do what she wants with her body and to consult with her doctor and make that decision by herself? He is most definitively against that. He's completely against that. So that's not an exaggeration. Would he take rights away from women? 100%, he would. So it's, if you want to characterize that as being against women's rights and not hating women, okay, fine, that's your description. But he's not gonna take away women's rights. He's also going to potentially vote to eliminate things like Obamacare, which would take away protections for contraception, let alone for all of us. The days of pre-existing conditions would be back. And there are a number of things that affect women and yes, children, that he would have a position that in our opinion would harm them greatly. So when the Republicans pretend that they're playing patty cakes and it's not gonna have an effect in your life, that's not true. It will affect your life, especially if you're a woman.
So Kavanaugh gave his speech today, his opening statements, and what stood out to me the most was what he chose to emphasize in his statements. And he wanted to kind of make a point about how he doesn't hate females. He actually has a lot of love for women. And part of the reason why is because he has daughters. Okay, fair enough. So he touched on his daughters quite a bit and talked about how one of his favorite things to do is serve as a coach for his daughters' basketball teams. Okay, but that's not enough. Like this effort to connect with us on this, hey, I have children, they happen to be girls, and I'm actually pretty cool to them. That's not enough to convince us that you wouldn't undo what progress has been made when it comes to reproductive rights. Same thing when it comes to concerns about his feelings toward minorities, particularly the African American community. He kind of answered those questions by saying, oh, back in the 1960s, my mom was a teacher in a predominantly black area.
Oh, well, problem solved.
Who cares? We don't care. That doesn't matter at all. Like, your personal touch on these issues don't matter. What matters are, is your voting record, your ruling record, I guess is a better way of putting it, how you've treated people personally in the past, what you think, how you think the country should move forward policy-wise. He's been pretty clear when it comes to his conservative leanings on these issues. And so his opening statements were so incredibly weak when it came to addressing the real concerns people have.
Well, look, I'll be harsh and I'll tell you why he does it. So the reason he does it is there was no internet in the past. So everybody on TV would come out and go, oh, that was a moving story about how he plays softball with his daughter. Okay, let's move on, right? Well, sorry, those talking heads on TV are borderline irrelevant at this point. So let me summarize what real progressives think about you and your softball habits. We don't care at all. So you're decent to your daughters. That's a low bar. Congratulations. And by the way, we'll have to take your word for it. But I believe you, I do, okay? Does that mean that you're gonna let them choose what to do with their body? No.
He might with his own daughters.
Oh yeah, with his own daughters, he'll pay probably to go outside the country or wherever they need to go or to a blue state, right? But are you going to allow the law to change so they do not have access to controlling their own bodies? Yes, yes you are. So don't give me pretty stories about softball. Look, it's not just about abortion either. One of the things that he would likely strip away if they go after the Affordable Care Act, as they have in the Supreme Court before, is the healthcare decisions that women get to make. The way that the law would change, bosses would get to make decisions for their female employees.
Oh, that'd be great.
Oh, but I play softball with my daughters. Later, I'll let their male bosses decide what kind of healthcare they can and can't get. Okay, no, we only care about policy. So spare me your schlock. That's for Joe Scarborough and the idiots on TV. We don't care about that at all. All we care about is what are you gonna do when you get on that court? And everything in your record now indicates that you will vote against women's rights. In fact, that's exactly why the right wing and the evangelicals are thrilled with your selection, because they think you're gonna take away Roe versus Wade. Why do you think they're so happy? So the lies are what drive me nuts. Republicans, just be honest about it. You campaigned on it all the time. You said in all your campaign ads, you said in all your speeches that you were hoping for a judge that'll take away Roe versus Wade. Now, when it's confirmation hearings, they're like, Roe versus Wade? I have no political opinion on that. Anybody have a political opinion on that? Oh, get the hell out of here. Everybody knows you're 100% lying. Kavanaugh and every Republican senator on there. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. Then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.